Okay, we're here at the 33rd International Classic Motorcycle Show at the Stafford County Showground. This is the Bonhams sale. Fantastic collection of machinery. Sales starts in a couple of 3 hours. As you can see, people are starting to mill in. It's already getting busy. All set for a good day and a good sale. We're going to take a look at a few of the bikes as we walk around and see what's what. Right, we're here in the Bonhams auction, and this is a 1952 Vincent Black Shadow. Now, it's a rather special bike in that it was one of two specially prepared by Vincent themselves to take to Montlhéry in France to attack a number of world records. The idea was to attack the 24-hour record, sustained running after over 24 hours. First attempt unfortunately ended after 6 hours when there was a big end failure. They went back the next day, and that it lasted 11 hours before the bike packed up again, both times with this big end failure. It was incredibly hot as well, which was partly, there was some kind of idea that was partly to blame, so conditions were not ideal. But on the second day they did manage to establish the 6-hour record at 100.6 miles an hour, so pretty impressive going. The bike itself, it's a 1952 Shadow. It's had various bits and pieces were done to it by Vincent, including the special tank which has been put back on it now. It was kind of then went back to normal Shadow specification, and it's been owned by a dealer from Grimsby in Lincolnshire, a guy called George Petch, who's owned it since about 1970, I think it was. George has been a long-term Vincent Owners Club member and things like that, been restored, and now he's selling it, so it's going to go to a new owner, and what a beautiful thing it is. Right, here in the Bonhams auction, this is a 1926 Brough Superior SS80 100. Now, it's called an SS80 100 because when it started life, it was an SS100 chassis, as is now, but it had the side valve Jap engine in it. Now, the engine has been swapped sometime in the bike's life for an overhead valve one as a proper SS100. So what we've got is effectively an SS100. Even the club recognise it as such. So to all intents and purposes, it is an SS100. Beautifully restored by a guy called Tony Cripps, Brough Superior expert. You can see it's a fantastic thing, incredibly purposeful. Big powerful engine, 45 to 50 horsepower, something like that, which in a frame and cycle parts, which as you can see are quite sort of minimal, and there's not huge amounts of strength or suspension. It's a rigid rear end. The castle forks, which are a copy, Brough Superior's own kind of copy, or well, Castle's own copy of the Harley Davidson type fork. Front brake, tiny considering how much power you've got, and as people say, I mean, this is like a hugely powerful bike with minimal braking and tyres as well. I mean, tiny skinny little tyres, beaded edge, so it's all very minimal but with a very big powerful engine. A fantastic thing, beautifully presented, and it's going to grace someone's collection by the end of today. These have already started to attract a bit of attention. We've got 5 Ducati 916 Senna special editions. Quite an unusual bike, and it's unusual to see 5 of them all lined up. They've all been owned by the same guy who, as well as these 5, had the 3 that are just to my left here as well, which are these Elite 999s. Again, they're not road bikes. These are pure kind of track day bikes. So we had the 3 Elites and these 5 Sennas, an unusual sight. This is a nice little collection for the Triumph enthusiast here. We've got 8 Triumphs in a line, starting with a couple of sort of 3 1950s models. The first one a Tiger 110, next the Tiger 100, which is the 500, the 110 is the 650. So then we've got the Tiger 100, which is the alloy barreled 500cc version. Next along we have the 1955 Thunderbird 650cc, and that's got the cast barrel rather than the aluminium barrel. Next one along is a Speed Twin, beautifully finished in this dark red, a really attractive machine. Then we come along to a Bonneville next, the 1970s Bonneville. Actually, I think it's about 1975. Next along a Trident. And then we lead into this machine, which is actually quite a special thing. This is a 1977 Triumph Legend. Well, it says 1977, but they were actually built in the early 80s by a guy called Les Williams, who, a former Triumph employee. He built these special machines, taking old 1970s Tridents and refitting them, refurbing them, and making these lovely looking bikes. I think he only made about 60. This one is number 27 of the 60. Very nice thing. Should attract quite a bit of interest. There's a quite well regarded and quite sought after. Right, here we've stopped by one of the two Cottons in the sale. This is quite an interesting machine. It's a 1933 Cotton. It's what makes it especially interesting. It's fitted with a Norton engine. It's a 1929 Model 18 engine, but it isn't the kind of built up recently. This was actually done before the Second World War, and so it's been together as a bike for a long time. Basically, the story goes that the guy had been racing at Model 18, wanted to make it a bit more competitive, so he got hold of these Cotton frame and things like that, and kind of built this bike up around it. Interesting thing, and very nicely done, very well executed. But of course, well, not of course, but Cottons normally were fitted with either Jap or Blackburn proprietary engines. And if we just take a few steps this way, this leads us on to another Cotton. This one is slightly more usual in that it's fitted with a Blackburn engine. Now, Cotton synonymous with Blackburn engines as well as Japs, so did a whole range of bikes with proprietary engines, but most famously Blackburns and Japs. And this is a really nicely presented one, restored by the Sam Miller Museum a few years ago. As you can see, it's still in beautiful condition, and they make a lovely pair. If you could have the Norton engine one and this one, what a pair that would be to own.